welcome back to All New Nerds Alive.
How's it going, everyone?
We're back.
What's up?
Bit of an OG crew here today.
Love it.
First,
The boys are back in town.
Friends of the show here. It's of course Johnny, Gibbs, and Levi are not able to make it today. That's okay. That's okay. Stuff happens. But anyway, so we're here to talk about some Andor, and I'm joined, of course, with the OG crew. Mike, Jedi Jive. How we doing?
What's up?
How you doing, Mike?
What's going on,
How are you
guys? It's been a minute for you and me, Brent. We haven't. I missed you the last few times.
I'm so happy that you guys are talking again.
Yeah, this got some Jedi Jive
reunited.
live.
I know. That's right.
Yep.
Right. But so like I said, Andor came out today. Andor episode 5. Very very hype show, I think, from all of us here. We're thoroughly enjoying it. But oh, here's Chad.
Hey Chad, how you doing, Chad?
What's going on, Chad? Chad, I'll pull you on in a second. So let's talk some Andor. So episode 5. How did we like it? Did we like it?
Yes.
Did we not like it?
Yes,
definitely.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, it's like it was the quietest episode of Star Wars we've ever had, but it had the most rich character depth of like introduction to new characters, but I think we've had more character development in those characters in that one episode than we have in anything else, Star Wars in such a short time. It was great. I loved it.
I can't agree more. Yeah, it was definitely like not low stakes, but yeah, I know, like a very quiet episode. I think that's a good way to put it. Very quiet episode, but I think it was very effective, and it was really cool seeing Andor's kind of like dynamic and like trust with the sort of rebel, the sort of like beginning of the rebels we have in this show. They don't trust each other. A lot of not trusting.
Well, it's going throughout too. I mean, even on Mothma's side, all the trust elements are all, they're dancing around what their truths are or what their all of the characters are. I think it's a great perspective. It was last week. It was like, I'm like, oh my god, my Mothma is married. I didn't even think about the fact she could be married. And this week it's like, oh my god, she's got a kid. I didn't think about that. This is,
which makes me worried that her husband and child are going to die at some point, because I didn't even know they existed. Right?
I think their mindset is going to take them towards the
empire,
imperial perspective, and their mother's going to be a traitor to them.
That very well may happen.
Story to tell. Either way, it's going to be a sad story to tell.
Chad, I sent you a link in Twitter here, in case you want to pop on. But anyway, so I agree. Yeah, it's Mom Mothma. Yeah, I don't think, because I'm trying to think like when was that established that she had a husband and a kid? Like, is that new to this show?
It was new to me.
New to me as well. That's why I'm thinking if it was a book or something like that. But Levi would probably know. But anyways,
Levi would definitely probably know. Damn these classes. Anyway.
Mom Mothma, a little bit less Mom Mothma than I thought we were gonna get to.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely heavy on Andor, which I'm obviously not complaining about.
There was so many characters who were hanging out with Andor that we kind of needed to understand their motives and their perspectives, and I think we got that. I didn't, as I said, it was like we're getting introduced to all these new characters in that one little group. And
well, you got a backstory for, was it Skeen is his name? And you got Gorn. They talked about Gorn having like been in love with a Aldani woman or whatever, and that was so she probably got victimized at some point, and that was his motivator. So we learned about those two guys. We didn't they kind of just gave character assessments of the other ones, though. They didn't tell their motivators. Val Luthen implied that she was the only one that ties back to him. So what that specific tie is, other than just like she's the one that he directly hired to begin with, or whether they're related to each other or not, that's
my big question now. It's like, why does Luthen need to be kept out of this outside source specifically? It sounds like Luthen has made a point of saying that he can't be mentioned to the other group.
Well, it all comes back to Mon Mothma, as she was saying to him, like she's the most vulnerable. So like in like the underground railroad kind of way, they all have to stay. They have to keep their ties separate. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. I think Chad's here, so we'll bring him in too.
What's up?
Hey, Chad. How you doing, man?
What's up, Chad?
I'm doing pretty good. How's it going?
Here he is.
Very cool.
I
got a
cannot see
cold
or hear him,
today,
but
so.
I think it's something on my end. So give me a second, and
Yeah,
I will
wait.
work on that. But anyways,
Yeah.
Let's keep talking. I'll let Chad. Why don't you say what like the episode thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and downfall of watching the show at like 3 a.m. and then not going back to anything is you forget a lot.
Guys.
So, and we lost our host.
That's all right.
But
yeah,
but no, I really enjoyed it. I like how slow the show is. Like, not everything has to be like constant action with Star Wars. Like, good character building.
Right. Oh no, totally. I'm
nice
loving the parallels between Andor and the mother and Cyril and his mother. Just the different dynamics of who they were brought up to be, more or less. Even though Andor's a foster mother, but it's still this element of who they are. I love the idea that Cyril is just this constant, let down to the mother, and she's an amazing actress too. She's just delivering her lines. She was so great. I think they're all amazing, actually.
Yeah, I loved the quality of her voice. It was so compelling. Yeah. And I'm loving that. I was gonna say I'm loving that, like Karn and also the agent lady Dedra. I'm finding them both very interesting, and they're both Empire characters, essentially. But like they have depth to them. They have their own motivations. They have their own perspectives. And if you've ever read Lost Stars, I don't know if either of you have read that. No, okay, but it's one of those really like where you can gain perspective on people that are in the Empire. You see that they're not really fundamentally bad people. They're just like they have their own perspective on the galaxy, and like you said, it goes right back to Mon Mothma's daughter, for instance, having a conflict with her emotionally, feeling like neglected by her mom. But yeah, like you said, they're going to end up at odds with each other. Johnny's back.
There he is.
Good.
It's
nice
still a little frozen then, but you're going there.
Okay,
you're moving. Right. You're good. But I noticed James says in chat that we did know that Mon Mothma had a daughter. Do we know that through the books or the comics, or did we just miss something? I'm curious where that.
Yeah, I never knew Mon Mothma had a family.
Really?
They don't mention it in Rebels. They don't mention it in the original
James
trilogy.
Says it here. I don't know.
So it's never been mentioned before. Like, and she's appeared in multiple things. So I think this might be new to the show, unless like Pablo did something like.
I was thinking a book.
20 years ago.
Maybe?
Yeah. Like 20 years ago, back in Legends, like she had a family.
Could be.
Yeah.
But I never thought Mon Mothma was like straight though. I always thought she was a lesbian.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like she almost had like an androgynous feel to her, like when I was a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
But not like, it's weird though, because that's not really the case. But
like, not in a negative way. I was like a little disappointed when her dickhead
well, who knows? I mean, there's a future for her.
And I was like, damn.
She was pretty cold to him in the taxi or whatever with the driver, and he was like, "Why wouldn't I be interested?" She's like, "Because it's charitable." I was like, "Dang!" She's just not holding any punches back. Like their marriage is definitely on the rocks.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah,
like we'll take it to like the highway.
Yeah, go to the expressway. Like, let's get home ASAP.
Yeah, I was waiting for like a pan up to see like either the Senate building. Or like,
that would have been great.
Imperial Palace, like that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Still waiting to see those.
Yeah. But Mon Mothma was interesting.
I like the idea that there's an expressway in general. It just further like sort of makes this like Coruscant City feel like it's hustling and bustling and real and has stuff going on like traffic and
Mike, you know that, I mean, you've noticed that if you compare like the golden age of when the Jedi were around, there was a lot more traffic in the skylines, and there's much less now during the Empires. Yeah. So it's like it really is only for the elite who can actually
feels much more controlled now.
Yeah. It's funny that That also reminds me of this contrast they make between Karn's mother's home, which is like it's not super low level. It's low enough that like the sun only like peeks through the buildings a little bit. So like
it bounces off the mirrors, off the windows.
But you can imagine that like the Karns probably only get like an hour or two of sunlight a day or whatever, and then it's pretty dark. And that they're in that kind of like low income stacked housing unit kind of area. But then like that's contrasted with Mon Mothma's like bright white up in this Cloud's apartment that felt more like Cloud City, right? Had that like
yes.
So I loved that contrast of like reminding you that like the city has those levels to it. So in terms of just like further enriching Coruscant and like the environment in general and believing that it's real and that this is so much better than Dax's diner, you know what I mean? Which feels too much like that feels too much like Earth. Like all of a sudden we're in a diner on Earth. Now we're not.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for them just to.
I would love to go back.
I mean, Coruscant. I've always wanted to know what happened to Dex's diner after the Empire, or
he's probably still got a job there.
Yeah, I like seeing Imperial like Coruscant because that was something that like they mentioned in the books a few times, but it's like we never really see it. I like this like opportunity to actually like see how different it is.
Notice also again when you compare the Golden Age with the Jedi was there. Every time the sun would hit the city, there'd be a lot of gold reflections. This is all gray and metallic,
silver,
like gray and silver reflections instead, which I think is a great, again another contrast.
Yeah, everything's like a lot like less colorful.
Yeah,
that's for sure. It's interesting,
but beautiful.
Quite a contrast.
The design, the architectural, the locations, which a lot of them are real places. Are just phenomenally chosen. Well,
I loved all the establishing shots on Coruscant. Like it's just like all the wide shots have been like so good,
nice.
So good. Never looked better. But a scene I really liked in this episode was is it Cyril? Cyril? Cyril's episode. Little scene with his mom
and the kid cereal that I loved it.
I was like, what? What is this? You have blue milk?
No, but like that combined with like the little Empire action figures that he had on his bed, where it was like his mom left his room the way it was when he like went off to college or whatever. That reminded me of like
the Academy.
Oh man.
I loved that scene so much, and that was one of the first scenes of the episode. I really enjoyed it. That was probably my favorite scene in the episode.
But you can totally see Karn is gonna like he could lose it. Like he could definitely snap and like
he will definitely.
He could be a murderer eventually. You know what I mean? Yeah.
He's definitely a Javert to Jean Valjean's. I picked that up on the first episode. It was like, oh, this is a real Les Miserables kind of deal going on there for sure. But
when he was holding the cereal, he was just like
I'm going to assume through the contact that his mother has, the connection, whatever that may be. I'm going to assume he'll end up with Deidre at some point. Is my guess.
That's what makes sense, I think, because they see eye to eye on.
Yeah, they seem to be the same.
Yeah,
familiar.
Yeah.
Also, she'll be super obsessed and interested to know what he knows because she's been trying to get that information from her colleague who won't give it to her. So he's like super interesting to her already.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say earlier, "What if Dedra is Cassian's sister?" And I was like, "No, she's blonde, right? His sister was brunette, right?"
Yeah.
But because it makes sense that because he was looking for his sister in the beginning, that either his sister's going to be in the Empire and he's going to see her corrupted, and that's why he's going to hate the Empire, or she's going to find out that the Empire killed her. Like, and that you don't has to be one or the other.
You don't think his sister is on the planet with him right now because they're all going by alias names.
Oh.
No. I don't think the other.
Not one of them.
The one girl that he said was like the toughest amongst them has like a different ethnic look to her than.
Yeah.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, like a different race.
There's Val
Bella?
Another blonde. I think it just makes more sense that he'll find his sister, but she won't. She'll be like a bad guy. She'll be like, and he'll be like, oh, look what they did to her. Like, fuck them. Like, he needs to have a motivator that's going to be more, because right now he is in it just for the money, and we need to find out what it is that tips him over the like. Now it's a personal vendetta against the Empire. Yeah.
I'm guessing next
very excited
week
to see where his plotline.
Yeah, we'll get the heist obviously next week. I think that's going to be the big,
yeah. So I mean, next week's going to be the big.
Yeah, that's the remainder of the
shots we saw in the trailer with like the the big explosion, the sunset,
street, the stars. We haven't seen the Star Destroyer flying over the planet.
Very
so we've got all those moments.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, I mean, this episode was again not a slower one, but you know, we were saying quiet, but they're prepping for the fight, you know. Or the,
Ow! You know what my favorite moment of this episode was the TIE Fighter flyby moment. I felt like that was like the audio, the visual, the composition of it all. Then my favorite part of that moment was the like reestablishing, like y'all need to remember exactly what a TIE Fighter is, because so many people conceptualize it as this like little geometric toy that just in the distance. It's literally like 30 feet tall and goes like 1,000 miles an hour. Yeah, and it's like
treat it like a jet fighter. It's like
exactly. They all have to cover their ears. Yeah, and it's like that seems so like that's real. That felt like what it would feel like if a.
I love the impact that the TIE had. Even last week too. Even just like they were. That was the scariest I've seen a TIE.
They were scouting, but this TIE fighter had a purpose of just flying by just to scare the civilians.
Yeah. He probably saw him and was like, I'll just do a quick flyby.
Yeah, screw these peasants down there. And he just went and did that.
Yeah, it's like Maverick buzzing the tower, just like the pilot getting a rise out of like, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So that was a really, really cool scene. I loved I love how just like literally just how scary that they're making the TIE fighters. And it's just one.
Yeah.
You know? So, I was really enjoying it.
I wish I had a real sound system, because I haven't, been in an apartment. It's very hard to have a decent sound system. So when I was listening, I've been listening on the headsets during reactions, and that sound on both
even on my because I was watching on my computer here. It was still loud. I had to turn it down.
I
wasn't ready for that.
Because Mike, you've been mentioning all the sound design, from the first 3 episodes. You were heavily into all that, and
if you've ever been to like a racetrack with like race cars where you like hearing that like sound in the distance where it's something is and then when it's finally oh my goodness, and it gets so loud.
Hey Mike,
you really feel the power of it.
There
were also a couple scenes right around there where they would just use the scenery of that like Scottish hill Highland that they're in, like where they just framed it up beautifully with like a low angle against some water with and it was just like no dialogue, just like a slow moving scenery shot, and I was just like, hello, that looks great. So
we had a little bit of
definitely shot extremely well.
Well, there's plenty of beautiful scenery in the locations they've got, and it always goes back for me is that it's very hard for them to do anything out of studio here in Los Angeles, because we all know what Los Angeles backgrounds look like now.
It looks like the
100 years of filmmaking.
What Mando, the Boba episode of Mando.
That's it, which is fine every once in a while.
No, it looked for that episode. It worked. I would say.
Yeah, totally, no, absolutely. But
there's only one to bring up. It was Skeen, right? The guy who took Andor's equipment.
Skeen, right?
Skeen, yeah. He had tattoos, and I wasn't.
Yes,
I was trying to pick
I wanted to talk about this, dude, because I'm a tattoo aficionado, obviously. But Grief Karga mentions Cara Dune's like drop soldier tat, so like they've mentioned tattoos before in Star Wars, but like not to this extent where they were like putting a story behind it and giving it weight, and I loved that, where it was like this is two guys like almost bonding over their war or like prison tattoos, like I know that one, like where he was like kind of quizzing him on which ones he knew, and he knew them all, and it was like oh man, I loved that they put so much, like that's a mundane, like almost irrelevant detail in any other context where it's just somebody's tattoo, but here they like made it a story, and it gave weight to like where they had been, like they had both been to war, they'd both been in prison, they'd both like it was a way for them to bond, and I love that. Cool detail.
And then that guy.
The other one that he mentioned was the hand.
Yeah, he had the one on the chest, and then he had the
which was the one by the prison. But the hand.
He also had one like on his abdomen that he about.
But the hand sounds like it's another another group, like it might be the syndicates or
They said this one was Crate Head, and Crate was spelled like Crate Dragon. Yeah, and I'm like, does that have? Is Crate Head a different location? With the, because if it's Crate Head, I'm thinking Tatooine.
Yeah,
right.
Does that mean Cassian and? Yeah.
Or it's like just like a gang that he was in.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the crate heads.
Yeah,
could be.
Cobra Kai Dojo.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yes, Cobra Kai.
Crate Head. It's just like a badass like.
I think
it just
was
sounds
a prison
like.
gang. From what I'm reading, I think it's something to do with when he was in.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, I agree with Mug though. He says he doesn't understand why people just don't like the show. And I said, I mean, I'm getting something completely new out of Star Wars that we've not got before. And what's the point of doing the exact same thing over and over again?
Well, I think
this is fresh and new, and I love it.
I do too. I think this is like shaping up to be the best Star Wars show that they've done so far. So.
We were talking about the rewatchability too. How I've already rewatched episode.
Yeah, I rewatched
all of them.
Before,
a couple times now.
Yeah, it's actually hard when you're doing reactions because it's like you've got other people talking and then you need to sit and rewatch again.
And this show is all about the details, man. The little it's like Karn's cereal. We're talking about it like it's like this boring little detail that they make more important, and it's part of the storytelling in the best way. Every scene too, like every scene has little detail. We were talking about like Mon Mothma's bonsai trees, like in her apartment. Dude, so many cool details like that are standing out.
Yeah,
no, it's not just the Easter eggs either. It's cool concepts too that are just
No, I think it's been really interesting because they've kind of explained it on the production side. Like essentially, like I really like their approach where they're taking writers who like honestly like don't really care about canon. They just care about a good story. That's good. I like that. And then they give it to someone like Pablo Hidalgo and the story group, and they kind of like change and put it into canon. I love that approach. I think that is like really
like you could be like, for example, a tattoo. You'd be like, okay, he's got like this gang tattoo. Like
I'm like, okay, let's tie that into.
What is it? Like
yes. I absolutely love that kind of approach. I think it's really working for the show, obviously. So I think it's really cool.
I'm still looking forward to seeing a horror Star Wars movie, like full on horror. These other,
they've been saying like Acolytes might have some like horror kind of stuff.
That'd be sweet.
So
I still love the idea of like have you seen that mock cops show, but it's like stormtroopers on Coruscant doing like domestic dispute calls and like
what is that called?
And it's like reality TV, but it's like exactly like cops.
Bucketheads or like
I would love to see like a fake reality TV show in the Star Wars universe like that. Or you could have so much fun with it, and just get like cosplayers to be extras and stuff, and just have some fun with it, dude. It would be so many people would join in on that.
Yeah. Ryan, you are rocking the minions.
I've got the minions on me.
Love it.
See, I could understand why people don't like this show though, because it is very slow.
I did feel very impatient at times where I was like, come on. Like I wanted
I'm not
let's get to the heist already. But
I think that's because the Mandalorian and whatnot have trained us to feel like we're gonna get Ahsoka Tano in every episode. Like there's gonna be a Darksaber to
I agree with that, but I feel like even because I'm rewatching Mando season 1 as well right now, and like there's certain parts of that show, especially season 1, that are quite slow.
Like, I mean, there's like shots of him just like walking.
It's all character
for a while.
But there's character stuff going on within those slow.
No, absolutely. But I think it's the same with Andor. I don't know why. Like, I think just Mando season 2 is just taken like obviously that was like the most hype show that we've gotten so far. So I just think everybody looks at that now.
Did you notice a couple of little Easter eggs, obviously at the end in the museum?
No, I have to go back. I'm actually.
They were already spotted though, but there was
something with
Jedi and Sith holocron.
There's a holocron. Right?
There's the stones from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Shankara stone sitting right next to it. Like I
saw those
reaction videos like, oh my god, it's the Shankara stones right there.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that Indiana Jones movie in forever.
Okay.
I definitely noticed that.
Yeah.
No.
3 stones with,
Not my
with
favorite.
3 wavy lines in the middle of it. Yeah.
Yeah, James says, Cyril started duty bound. Andor started only for himself. In the end, we know who Andor was. So, yeah, essentially they're gonna switch, which I think is kind of an interesting arc for the 2 characters. Who are we going to lose during the heist? I'm assuming you say. And who does Andor
everybody
shoot?
but Andor.
That's what I feel too.
What's that?
None of these characters are in
we
Rogue
think
One.
the whole crew is gone?
Yeah.
At least
Okay.
that kid. What's the kid's name? I can't remember.
I
his
like
name.
that kid. I think is
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey,
the-
And that's why he's gonna die first, Brent.
He's
Yeah.
too nice.
Yeah, he's too nice.
He's too nice.
Well-
and he-
Yeah.
Jenny and I were pointing out the similarities between like this and like the crew in the Matrix, and I was like, well, if that's if it mirrors the crew in the Matrix, then one of them is a traitor and is gonna
I think
That
it's
would be
the guy
cool.
That's
That
out
would be
for
actually really
Cassian
cool.
that wants to kill him.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's that obvious?
Yeah, the tat.
Everyone is
the guy-
so-
I don't know his name.
Really?
I don't know anybody's name.
The
except
guy
It could
who's
be- it could be
opposite?
any of
or
them.
Mon Mothma.
I think it's the guy with the black guy, the tall, the
Yeah,
Not Gorn, the tell whatever his name is.
yeah.
Not the Imperial guy, the other one.
Not
Yeah,
the
not the
other one.
Imperial
Okay.
guy, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Could be. Yeah,
Because that would be the Imperial guy's already defected. He's already like the undercover
Unless he's a double agent.
So you'd be like, double agent? Yeah, no.
I mean, it could be.
I mean, from the shots that we can assume are from the next episode. I mean, it is just Andor in that cockpit.
Yeah. I mean, we've also haven't seen a lot of the other 2.
No, you're
Val
right.
and-
You're right. But
Because there's still
It'd
that
be
one
interesting
shot.
if all of them
Again,
are
I
gone.
only know Val and Andor's name on that team. I don't know the other
yeah.
3.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen that one where like with the Star Destroyer flies over, which my favorite aspect of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm hoping we get some cool ship combat next week. I think we will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we've been not a lot of ship combat these days.
I mean, there's still these hurdles that have seemed
Here and there, nothing crazy though.
We know they've got hurdles in the heist that we don't know
Yes,
if
absolutely
they
they will.
overcame with the talks, because we know there's about the weight factor of how this thing is weighed, and this could go incredibly wrong. We don't know that.
Most likely it will.
Yeah. And then like Andor, he's like, you just like adjust it with the lever, and they're like, oh, you do that, and he's like, wait, you didn't know that?
yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it feels like things are definitely going to go wrong.
Oh, what?
And then they try to save face. They're like, just kidding. Like we knew that. We just
I think that was very much a tease that like some of them are very unqualified.
Yeah, and then deaths will happen from that.
Which makes sense because like I mean it's like the beginning of the rebellion. None of these guys are going to be well connected. I mean, Val seems the only one who like actually seems connected to somebody.
She might be the one that survives. It's a possibility.
I could see her surviving. Her and Andor, but everybody else is dead. That's gonna be next week.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think you may be right.
And if they continue in these, which it seems like they are in these 3 episode arcs, then next week's heist will move on to the next part of the story. And continue from there. I'm loving these 3-part,
Do we know?
arcs.
This is when
if they continue that.
Yeah, I think
we have many shots in the trailer from like the next kind of arc, because I'm assuming that
there's
stuff with
a lot.
Andor and the Imperial outfit is
Oh yeah.
There's a lot with like
might go back to Ferrex, because they introduced Bix.
Yes.
The police,
You're right.
policing of Ferrex, and there's gonna be that.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because he gave that guy. He was like, I don't need you to pay me more, but just give me the title of like whatever it was, magistrate or whatever, and and they gave him that cool looking hotel or whatever. So they're definitely gonna be going back there. And also, they made it clear in the first couple episodes that Bix was the like kind of the love interest, and they got her boyfriend out of the way real quick. So they're gonna have to like hook them up at some point.
There's still a lot like it from that I can remember is like from Ferrex that we haven't seen, like a lot of Imperial stuff on Ferrex. So
I mean, the idea of that entitlement, we're going to take this building now, and it's seen right now, even in Russia, we're seeing that exact same thing. They would come in through any.
It's a dictatorship. They don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care about
that's
it. They're the empire. They're the best. to them, they're the top dog, right?
True.
And they're like, we don't care. We're gonna take this if we want to.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Like,
yeah.
And that's how you get rebellions.
Right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's yeah. Oh, also Saw.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen any of the Saw
Only
stuff,
to see Saw.
which makes me wonder if Cassian's gonna go with Luthen to Saw.
Yeah,
but they've never met. I gathered they'd never met. Oh, sorry, no, it was. No, I felt like
it was Jin.
Jen obviously had the whole connection.
Yeah, Jin's probably like long gone now because she said that was like a while ago that he ditched her. So like,
oh, I see what you're saying.
I never
Saw meeting Andor would be.
I never felt that Saw ever met Andor for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean the interaction when he goes like to grab Jin,
right?
Seems like they've like know each other. I mean, they don't say anything. Like,
yeah, they don't say anything. That's interesting.
He's holding his blaster and he's like, Jin, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's.
It's not like a no.
Yeah. He's either knows who saw. Well, he obviously knows who saw it.
Knows
when we first like.
But have they ever met before? Was it just never felt like they had met before? When in Rogue One.
I mean, it would make sense that like he's part of this like. He's part of the beginning of the rebellion. He's going to interact with other cells. So
I feel like it's Luthen that he shares the scene with. So I'd say it feels like that's more of a Luthen, arc, possibly.
Yeah.
And they covered each of the characters so well in such a short time span too, which I thought was great.
This was definitely like a. Okay, so we're gonna build up these characters so you guys can sympathize with them, and then we're gonna kill them off next week. Kind of episode.
Pretty much.
Well, maybe not. I mean, we don't know yet.
I don't know, man. I feel like they've set the. I feel like they set the Daedra lady up to be potentially pretty powerful because even her like helper guy, she was like, "Oh, we've been here all day, like time to go home," and he was like, "No, you're staying, I'm staying." Like, and it was like, well, they're dedicated to their work. Like, she's trying to like move up in her career in the Empire.
Oh yeah.
And then they showed her. She took like some pills. She took like some space ibuprofen or whatever, and it was like either that or caffeine pills or whatever to stay up. I love
the. We've seen Serial. This is the Serial episode. This is the ibuprofen episode.
So she's literally like taking drugs to like maximize her performance. Like it's like I love that aspect of it.
She's going to take the
very competitive too.
The other guy that last week who was who she was up against head to head. I can't remember. Again, I haven't got familiar with these names yet.
I know what you're talking about. The other
main.
Not the old guy, but the other one who's her confliction. She's going to be in charge of his position by season 2, I think. It feels
I think she's going to take over like Ferrex. Like, he's doing all these things on Ferrex, and then Ferrex is going to rebel, and then it's going to see how like incompetent he is on Ferrex. And she's like gunning for
good call. Yep.
So I think that's when she takes over, and that's when she.
You know what? I'm calling I'm calling her right now. You remember the line he said to her? She's at the end. She's gonna say to him, "If you fall alone." She'll say it. She'll say it back to him. And it'll be like, "Oh, burn!"
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. No, that's. I would agree with that as well. That's I feel like
cool, man. Yeah. I can see her becoming like people wanting to cosplay her too. Just kind of like they gave her that like Imperial raincoat. We've seen that raincoat now a couple times.
I love that raincoat. I love the Imperial. Like,
I love the white Imperial outfit.
Because they're basically like the equivalent of FBI or CIA or like NSA. They're one of those So it's
they're the like the cops of the Empire pretty much.
Yeah.
And
I would love to see like the agents if they bring in like what Agent Cal
ISB agents.
Yeah, ISB agents.
Yeah, that would be sick. Because
she's like an officer. So
no, that'd be cool to see like kind of the ISBs we saw in Rebels in the show. That'd be really cool.
Also, like we haven't seen a stormtrooper yet in this show.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
Crazy.
You're going too soon though because they're moving in on Ferrex, right? So
wait,
they weren't in any.
They haven't seen the clones either, right?
They weren't even there yet, though. They hadn't even like established to where their base was going to be. So
well, even in the trailers, there weren't stormtroopers. They were like the mud troopers. No, that was.
There was a scene
I'm
with
talking about like the riot ones.
Oh, You're right.
When they're doing the riot, it's like
Yes.
it's the mud trooper like design. So
Yeah. But then also the clones, though. I keep forgetting about that.
we haven't gotten that yet, which
Yeah.
I feel
Oh,
like
I'm
is
so
going to
excited for
be
that.
part of the next arc.
Yeah, the next arc. Yeah.
Oh wait, there's clones in a trailer or something.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
I don't remember this. I don't.
Phase 2.
We can only the flashback scene. I mean, I feel like we still flashbacks,
could be.
but who knows? I mean,
I because they mention or Luthen mentions that like his father got like hanged in the square,
right?
So I think that's when it's they're
yeah,
gonna flashback to the younger Cassie and his dad.
Well,
Clem
I don't know.
is-
I assumed that the guy who was with I forgot her name. His mother
Marva?
character. Yeah. That was his. That was.
Yeah,
her husband.
That black guy was his dad. Yeah. Okay, cool.
That guy,
that makes sense.
In the credits in that, he's Clem Andor. So.
Oh, okay.
And then he chooses his dad's name when he goes to.
Oh, is that what it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Goes
to,
I
didn't catch that.
I can't remember the name.
So yeah, they're definitely gonna flash that back.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't know about next week, but definitely.
Yeah. No, I think next week's gonna be the heist, and we're gonna get cuts to
a lot of action. I'm hoping in next week's episode.
Yeah.
At the end of next week, we'll be halfway through this series. How scary is that already?
I know.
What do you think Uncle Harlow's job is gonna be?
I know. That was something I wanted to talk about as well. Yeah, I don't. Who do you think he's connected to?
They kind of likened it to like Karn's mom is very like she'd be like the Italian mom on Earth that where it would be like the mob boss uncle, like uncle whoever will so you'd think it would be some back alley like illegitimate like crime something that isn't straight, and Karn's gonna be like, I don't want to do this. This is illegal.
With the huts, but I doubt we're gonna see a hut in this series.
Oh yeah, that would be a perfect example.
He does have a passion for justice, so I don't know.
Yeah. And he's a straight arrow, right? He doesn't want to. Yeah. So you'd think that would be.
No, but we were saying, I think
conflict.
I think he may have like a break. Like he might have a breaking point where he just like doesn't care.
Yeah, he was looking at the hollow of the picture of Cassie, and it was
He's like,
yeah. But he just needs that in to find. Yeah, I mean, putting him with Deidre are going to be dynamic. I think.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So we'll see what goes on with his character. I'm actually he's honestly probably the character I'm most intrigued to see where he goes next.
You know what else I think they've done a good job of in this show? I've noticed a couple times, like in particular, like Deidre was holding like and her assistant, they had like tablets basically. And one of the tough things with Star Wars has always been that, like, remember the transition from Revenge of the Sith at the end where they try to make it like the Empire technology all of a sudden just looks like it's from the 70s, even though we've been like in this like prequel era. It's a little clunky and weird the way the technology just like, and it's always been like, if you go back and watch the original trilogy, like it's like, oh, they're not even looking at monitors, they're like turning dials, and like there's literal like 16 millimeter tape in some scenes where it's just like the data tapes they call them. And it's so there's a little bit of a technology incongruency there, if you will. But here, I feel like in Andor, I've noticed how they've kind of like they've kept that like Empire aesthetic to a lot of it, but they've made it look a little bit more updated and smartphony and like it still feels like that old style Empire aesthetic.
They struck a good balance.
Yeah, and it's that transition doesn't feel as clunky here, where you're like you're believing that their tablet is like an Empire tablet, like and it has like swipe technology on it, which you wouldn't see on in the original.
And the rebellion's taking Polaroids.
Yeah, like when like in the original, like in the the cell bay when Han Solo in A New Hope is like talking to the guy in the intercom, and it's just this weird clunky device like coming out of a like. Wouldn't there be like a zoom button? Just like what's going on in there? Like why don't you like the fact? Yeah. The security cameras are all like very I just always hated how the technology, like the buttons in Star Wars aren't labeled; they're always just like a square with no label next to it. It's like, how do they know what button that is? There's just
everybody just knows what button to press. I think this one opens the door.
But here they even have him being like, they misspelled Ferrix, like,
or like blows up the base. Yeah, it's either that or it blows up the base. So this dinner, are we just not?
Well,
is it next week? What do we?
Literally,
I think it's next week.
Next week? Okay.
Well, that particular dinner looked like he was okay. When Mon Mothma got in a car, she was coming from somewhere because they had just been to dinner.
And I thought they were hosting this.
Yeah, it felt like they were hosting a dinner themselves, but they came from to go.
He was setting the table for dinner though, and then they were having breakfast or whatever with their daughter. So it was like that must have already happened.
It must have already happened. Yeah,
that'd be really bummer that they'd set that.
Yeah. I don't think.
I guess you don't need to see it, but that would
like Masameda or whatever.
Yeah, Sly Moore. Oh my god.
They might have just name dropped and just name dropped only.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean,
Sly Moore and then not give Sly Moore.
It was because it was definitely the next day kind of vibes for everybody. So it's like, okay, they had their dinner and we never got to see it.
Oh, I hope. Well, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say seeing them is completely out of the question still, because we still got to see Mon Mothma. Like, there's some Senate scenes.
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
So I hope we. Maybe even see Palp in that too, which would be cool.
I'm feeling less and less that Palpatine has got any sort of inkling to want to be on the Senate floor anymore.
It could be like, how when
special occasions.
You know how at the end of Rebels when when Ezra was taken to Palpatine and there was that like younger version of him,
and he's like, it
could be something like that.
Yeah, hologram.
I
could see that
would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I could see a hologram
of like Ian McDiarmid.
Yes.
Palpatine.
Yes.
No. That would be dope.
He's not going to quarrel himself with the with the majestics of these tiny little people by being there himself.
I was going to say, what about like Orson Krennic or
I think there's still a season 2 kind of thing if they even go there.
Yeah. I feel like they're gonna do like the Rogue One characters definitely in season 2 because K2SO is gonna be in season 2.
Yeah.
You know that. And...
I still feel sorry.
I know what you're gonna say, Brent. Go ahead.
I still feel that B2EMO, there was 2 scenes in the second episode where the attitude of the droid talking to Andor was 100% the same attitude that K2SO had towards Andor in Rogue One.
Are you saying?
And take out the brain. I think something's going to happen to B2, and his brain is going to be transplanted to.
Yep, makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's like as sassy as K2SO is.
No,
it's just because he's got a different voice.
Could be.
Yeah, but B2EMO is like kind of like a little stuttery, kind of like
a little bit more like a butler
guy.
There was one moment where 2 sets of lines, 2 completely separate sets of lines, with a bit of an attitude twist to them, came out of B2EMO.
Brent's gonna die on the hill.
More innocent than
Brent's dying on the hill.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's it. I mean, I've mentioned, you're putting something of innocence into something of a corruption.
Yeah, I like the theory.
I mean,
I like
the
theory.
Like, I literally picked up that immediately.
Definitely,
I was like, that
could be.
We'll see. Maybe not.
We'll see.
Yeah.
There needs to be a bit of tragedy going on there.
And they've already kind of done this in the past with L3 in Solo being transferred into the Falcon. Yeah.
I know they're trying to copy anything, but it just feels like that you could just easily do, if you're going to have trouble trying to rewire why isn't everybody rewiring these super deadly droids is the main thing.
Unless it was just like, hey, he was
not easy to get your hands on one. That's why.
Easy to get your hand on one, but not easy to actually reprogram, and maybe part of that reprogramming involves something of a
and if you think about, they've actually dealt with this before with Queel in The Mandalorian reprogramming IG-11, and Queel admits to have having worked for the Empire or having been an employee of theirs. So you have to have the knowledge directly from the Empire of how to hack that particular droid too, probably. Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, that's definitely not.
I know everyone in the Star Wars universe is a mechanic, but it can't all be slicing hackers too.
Yeah, I certainly didn't think of that. Interesting theory.
It's a possibility, I guess.
It's a possibility.
Now, go back and rewatch episode 2, and there is 2 lines in the middle where it's just Andor and B2, and it is almost dead on for a similar conversation that takes place between Andor and
Do you think the next episode is going to be kind of like a mid-season finale kind of thing?
I think it'll be the end of this trilogy.
In terms of action, I think it'll be.
It could be. I gotta go. I gotta do another show. So.
Oh, okay. Right. Later, Chad.
Talk to you guys.
Chad.
Plug Chad BTI everywhere, right?
Yeah, Chad BTI everywhere. You can
beautiful.
Figure out what I'm doing there. I don't know what I'm doing half time. Later, guys.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, we can wrap it up, or if anyone wants to come on, we'll pull you guys on. But yeah, damn, Brent, you're making me think. About this theory. I don't know.
Rewatch episode 2.
I will. I'll have to.
You know it when you see it because it's probably the longest conversation he has with the droid, and it's kind of there are 2 very specific lines and 2 separate moments that are like, oh wow, that feels like the exact same vibe that, and it almost pulls out of that stutter for a moment, which is even funnier.
Yeah, interesting. All right.
I thought it was interesting that Skeen or whatever his name is knew what the Kyber crystal was, like, because even Luthen had to explain to Cassian what Kyber. Or he didn't explain specifically what Kyber was, but
the guy was around.
Skeen was like this. He specifically called it Sky Kyber. I thought that was interesting. Like, we haven't heard of that before, but and then he said it was worth 30,000, and we're like, actually, it's worth 50,000 minimum. He said.
I feel like Skeen, as a character, has probably been around in his day.
Yeah.
Maybe he's bound into.
Yeah. I definitely like the thought process of that character and the way he.
Whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, he definitely feels like he's gonna be dead.
Yeah. No, I love the like untrustworthiness between some of them. Yeah. It's a very interesting dynamic. I mean, it even goes back to Rogue One because even Andor is kind of like that type to. I mean, well, when we get to Rogue One, he's kind of doesn't really trust too many people either.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I mean,
the inkling of the start of that is kind of interesting. We'll see what happens. In
the scene with I forget his name, the young kid that was like showing him the analog navigational equipment, and it was like, oh, this would be like him like using a sextant or like an astrolabe or whatever. And it's like the analog equipment is like untraceable, but it's also, as Jenny pointed out, it's like the theme of them returning to nature or like being in touch with the stars and the planet and the celestial. You know,
he was like, it's old, but it still works.
And if you noticed, I think it looked like it was made out of a Polaroid camera, like how in the
Polaroid.
I'm like, because that reminds me of like them using like a razor blade to make Qui-Gon's intercom in the prequels, which is.
And I'm gonna guess that's this technology that's gonna totally save their asses at the end of the escape.
Yeah, but that scene that was one of the scenes that reminded me of like the crew in the Matrix, because that just reminded me of that kid character in the Matrix crew that's like wrote the Lady in the Red Dress program, where he's like that. If you like the Lady in the Red Dress, like he has it just. The kid was kind of like geeking out about what he was passionate about to Cassian, like in that moment. Like, so I love that kind of stuff. So many details. I know, it's a
detailed show.
Everywhere.
I mean, it's really, really cool. And like, again, I was saying earlier, like how like kind of they have it, they write the scripts and then they kind of give it to the story group. And I think the story group is doing amazing work too with just. I mean, even the set designers doing the. And
I honestly don't think the pacing is as slow as we think.
I really don't either.
I feel like there is some dead space in there, but it doesn't. It feels perfectly paced to me.
But it's so
type of show, but I think that is desperately needed in Star Wars.
Yeah, we need more context on the whole season too before we can be all like,
True.
Yeah.
But right now, I think absolutely, it's such a slow burn of a show, but I think it really works because then it pays off. I mean, the first 3 episodes were amazing, and I loved the build up to the the fight in the village. It was so awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, you were saying something, Brent?
No, I was going to say that. No, it's gone.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. We can begin to wrap for set here, but what did you guys? How would you rate this episode? I guess out of.
I feel like this. For me, it's not about a rating. I feel like this episode just kind of continued the path the past episode kind of set us on, and to me, I'm like, this is headed in the right direction, and it still feels like it's headed in the right direction. So, like, I like the episode, I might rate slightly lower than the previous episode if I had to, but it's the same. I feel like the trajectory is correct, and that's where I'm at right now. No,
it definitely takes the Clone Wars approach, so it is kind of.
I feel excitement building without anything exciting having had happen.
Yeah, I need to see what the arc is before I can. I'm not a big rater either. I'm not a big.
I think rating the arcs maybe.
Are we gonna get to see that celestial event too? I'm wondering if there's.
I know.
That's all that light source got past the fighters when in that trailer.
The fighters are going by. There's a starship. I'm like, oh my god, let's go.
Lupin's up there, and I think Andor's in the ship.
Yeah.
That's celestial event is going to be.
I'm going to put
big.
the
link
in
the other thing I like
chat here if anybody wants to pop in.
Yeah, I was going to say also quickly, the one thing I enjoyed was that the other officers who were wanting to watch the celestial event, they were talking about it. There was a little brief moment. It was just like they had to work. They wanted time off. They wanted this moment to see something spectacular.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting. It was like, can I take my time off work to go see this thing? Almost kind of vibe, which I found rather interesting. Because we never really get the fact of, any Imperial troops wanting to see something and enjoy life around them kind of thing either. They all seem to be...
I've loved this show has been very in-depth with the world building, and this is such I feel like a time period that we've definitely gotten content for, of course, but not this in-depth day-to-day type stuff. Yes, and that's what I think that's my biggest takeaway, and that's really what I'm enjoying.
It's new. I've always wanted to see what the day-to-day life was during the Empire, and we are seeing this. I think the only thing that is very different from it is the fact that everything else Star Wars is totally purposely targeted at children, so it's simpled down and dumbed down a little bit in the reference of dialogue. I mean, but that doesn't bother me at all in either way, kind of thing. It's I'm enjoying this. People have always been yelling and screaming and bitching and moaning. We want an adult Star Wars, thing. And we're getting the adult themed Star Wars
they definitely are going into more adult themes in other projects. That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's for sure.
Totally.
But all right, great. Well, guys, this has been another All-Under stream. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you for
coming on, as always.
Having us, man.
Yeah. I know he had to pop out early, but can't wait for next week. Next week's gonna be a big episode, hopefully, a lot of fun. Tonight, She-Hulk, Daredevil.
Yeah. Tomorrow night.
And then Werewolf by Night.
Watching She-Hulk just to see Daredevil. That's
literally. The people have been wanting that. Your time is now. I'm included in that boat.
Episode 8 of 9. Like something's gotta happen.
Yeah.
Yep. This is the Daredevil.
Probably that shows almost at the end too. Wow.
I know. So it should be good. And so we will. If you guys want to plug, Mike Jedi Jive, pretty much everywhere, right?
Yeah. Jedi Jive, man.
Grogu.
Yep. We do our things every Sunday podcast. So yeah. Cool.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, peace, boys.
Bye.